Thanks for tuning into Heavy, where we bring you the latest interviews with local, national and international artists. Today's victim is...
This is Andy Jones from Five Finger Death Punch. Our new album's going to be out August 19th called Afterlife. Check it out.
Beautiful, Andy. Thanks for joining us today, mate.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right. So as you mentioned, Five Finger Death Punch are releasing a new album Afterlife on August the 19th. So what can you tell us about the album musically and what you were going for with it?
I think musically it's definitely an evolution from like the older stuff. Trying to keep the sound of the band, obviously. I think we were probably a little bit conscious of that, maybe because of changing out a guitar player for this like new record. I know personally for me, I was probably like thinking, how am I going to approach this? Because obviously I'm not going to sit there and be like, well, I'm gonna like just try and sound like Jason Hook and do that whole thing. So I wanted to try and, you know, bring my own flavor to the band and it not be weird. You know, especially for like someone like me who's been a fan of the band anyway, and I'm used to hearing the band not with me playing on it. So it's kind of like strange from that point of view, like hearing this stuff now. But yeah, like musically, it's actually a pretty diverse record. I mean, there's some heavy parts, there's some, you know, slow melodic parts. There's actually some cool like chill vibe stuff on there. And there's kind of one song in there which is like really sort of industrial feeling, which is very different than anything I've ever heard the band do before. So there's a good eclectic mix of different stuff on there, but it still sounds like Five Finger Death Punch to me. So,
and this, like, overall, this is the band's 9th album, mate. So have you come in, like, do you find that they've got a set writing and recording process, or does it differ every time?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely there is a process. You know, like they've been working with Kevin Shoko for a long time, and you know, he has a sound as a producer, and he's pretty much come up with Five Finger Death Punch as well. So, you know, the band and producer have kind of grown together. So there's definitely a working process there, understanding how each member of the band contributes stuff and how they work, and, you know, when they want to work and what it is they want to do. But yeah, like coming into this creative process, I guess I just was hoping that I might be able to contribute somewhat to the stuff, but I never really had any overbearing expectation that I would even be included at all. So, you know, when I was asked if I had any kind of like cool ideas and stuff like that, I, you know, played some stuff. Some started a creative process to some of the songs which you hear on the record, and, you know, some ideas like died in the water, but it was pretty cool. Like I wasn't expecting as much input as I was kind of given to, you know, produce stuff for the album. But yeah, so I mean, it's definitely been a cool process. Interesting to see how it all like works and stuff. Not that dissimilar to like other situations I've been in when I've been in the studio and stuff like that. You know, you come up with an idea, you record it, and, you know, then you back and forth with the producer about what's, you know, what we could do to improve it, or, you know, like whether it's a good idea or not, because some ideas you spend plenty of time on and then they just don't get used at all. So it really does depend on, you know, how these things kind of take a life of their own all by themselves.
And the press release calls the album your most innovative body of work yet. Would you agree with that?
I mean, I'd say so, but then, you know, every band kind of goes, yeah, this is our best album yet, you know what I mean? Like, but no, I think like from just kind of traversing, you know, being like a listener and a fan to actually, you know, working on stuff, I think so. Like, there's definitely a shift in direction towards trying to add elements in that weren't there before. Especially, like I say, there's like this industrial track called Judgment Day on the record. That's very different from anything the band has ever done before, and it's definitely trying to dip its toe into different waters to see, you know, whether it's something that they would like pursue or not or whatever. But I don't know. Like, I feel like the general attitude in the band now is to just kind of like write what feels natural instead of, you know, maybe writing for a particular reason or whatever. And I think Afterlife was definitely a freer record, as I understand it, than maybe previous ones. So yeah, so I mean, the album kind of speaks for itself, really. Like, when you listen to it, you can kind of hear that, you know, creatively there's some new stuff in there, but it still sounds very much like Five Finger Death Punch, even with a new solo guy, you know.
And you've released the singles Times Like These, IOU, and Welcome to the Circus so far off, mate. So would you say they're a good sonic representation of the album as a whole?
I'd say so. Yeah. I mean, Times Like These is definitely kind of showing the softer side of the band, and you know the acoustic, more acoustic side of it, I suppose. Then we had IOU, which is more of a kind of industrial groove sounding song, which you know is talking about different subject matter entirely. And then Welcome to the Circus, which is like a sort of just like a heavy kind of I don't know how to describe that. It definitely had to be song one on the album, like the song Welcome to the Circus, then introducing the rest of it, you know what I mean? So, and then there was Afterlife as well, obviously, which is kind of like a bit more poppy, I suppose, but still fairly heavy. There's quite a bit of 8-string guitar on this record as well, which is something else I don't think Five Finger Death Punch has really done a huge amount of. So it gives it a slightly different sonic texture than, say, just playing everything in you know, like a B tuning or C sharp or whatever.
Cool. And on past albums, the band has had great success covering songs like Bad Company and House of the Rising Sun. So does Afterlife have a cover song on it?
You'll have to find out.
I was looking through the song names before and I couldn't pick anything up with them, but
no, we did. You know, there is something that we've been working on, but again, you know, I don't want to give too much away about that. So we'll see what happens.
Moving on then.
Well, I don't want to get in trouble, you know.
That's right, mate. I can't get you in trouble on one of your first assignments. So as well as the new album, Five Finger Death Punch also have a song on the upcoming soundtrack for the horror movie The Retaliators. So have you seen the movie yet?
Yeah, I went to the movie premiere in LA last year. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That was kind of one of the first things I did when moving to Vegas was, well, basically Zoltan sat me down one day and he just said, do you fancy being in a movie? I was just like, yeah, why not? So, you know, basically got me like best biker look on, and yeah, just kind of went on set, and yeah, we had fun like doing that. It was cool. So yeah, we went to see the movie. When was it? I think it was just before I came back. So I think it was like around September, October, something like that. Because I remember the day after I flew back to the UK for the rest of the year, just to kind of see people that I hadn't seen for a while. And yeah, you know, we had a few drinks and a laugh, and it was all good.
What was it like watching yourself on the big screen? Was it right? How'd you feel?
I mean, it was pretty cool. I mean, like the parts that I'm in, I think there's only really 2 bits. It was like a bar scene where we're all just at the bar, and then one other scene where we're walking through like a pinball museum, which is here in Vegas. Yeah, it was kind of cool. You know, it's just like, well, yeah, I mean, for me personally, it's just like I'm just checking to just make sure I don't look like a complete idiot. You know what I mean? That's it. As long as I don't, then it's fine. You know. I didn't want to let the side down, you know.
And we mentioned before that like you haven't been in the band that long, so you joined back in 2020, mate. So you've only been there a couple of years, but like you mentioned too that like you've been a fan of the band before. So how was it settling in for you? Like, was it an easy transition, or did it take a while?
Well, I mean, it's kind of it could have gone 2 ways really, because I joined the band like halfway through the European tour and then finished that. And then, you know, we were going to be going on and doing another tour after that, which would have been a US tour, I think. And then obviously the pandemic hit. So, you know, on the one hand, you get offered a gig with a band like Five Finger Death Punch, but then it's like, oh shit, there's a global pandemic happening. So, well, what are we going to do? So as it turns out, nothing for about a year until I moved to Vegas in 2021. And it's been cool, actually. Like, I think the pandemic actually allowed a slower transition for me into the band to get to know everybody, like before the craziness. Obviously now we've just done a European tour and we're about to go out with Megadeth in America for like 8 weeks. So, you know, the craziness has started back up, but I'm actually grateful for the time to have built a solid foundation with the rest of the guys in the band before going out and doing that, rather than just trying to develop those relationships on the road with all the craziness going on, if you see what I mean. So I think it definitely helped my transition into the band rather than just being thrown into it. I mean, I kind of was thrown into the Lion's Den for like the first 5 weeks. And then after like show 3, it was okay anyway. We knew it was going to work and it would be fine. And that was actually a fun end of that tour. So, so yeah, you know, like musically, I always knew it was going to be okay and stuff. And, you know, me and Zoltan have sat down a lot with each other and, you know, played guitar together and stuff like that. And we both know that we can work together and trade ideas and stuff like that. Plus, you know, we've become really good friends as well. So yeah, it's definitely made the process a lot easier than, say, just being thrown into it and then it's just crazy bang. From that. Yeah, exactly. So no, it's actually been, in hindsight, it's been a good thing, I think.
Yeah, cool. And I think Death Punch have that rare ability to still be a heavy band, but you also enjoy a bit of mainstream success, mate. So how and where do you find that balance in your music? It can't be an easy thing to do.
No, I mean, like I say, you know, Kevin Churko and, you know, Zoltan Bathrin, you know, all the other guys in the band, they've kind of come up together, and I guess they've, you know, figured out how to traverse both the sort of mainstream success with the heaviness of the band, I suppose. And you know, it's not by accident. They know what they're doing. So, you know, coming into the process, I guess, like, because Zoltan's always been like the sort of like heavier guy, I suppose, but it's just a great songwriter, has like these like mad ideas, and especially for someone like me, because I come from like a different world of like writing instrumental guitar music, and I've been in a few bands and stuff, but predominantly I've just been a kind of career shredder, if you know what I mean. So like the writing process and what you would think would be good for a song is completely different. So it's been a really good learning curve for me to see how these guys that are obviously veterans of doing that kind of thing now work, and how they can sort of like hear a mad idea, but actually it's not that mad in the grand scheme of things, and actually becomes the thing that makes it popular, you know. So yeah, I mean, I definitely feel like they're going more towards you know, the sort of big songs and stuff like that, rather than doing like the more faster, heavier stuff. I don't know if that's really a conscious decision or whether that's just a natural progression or whatever, but there's still some heaviness within the band. I mean, like there's songs like Blood and Tar and Roll Them Bones on this record that still have that old school five-finger Death Punch sound to them, you know, which I think it's important, obviously, for a band like that to still maintain the sound that everyone knows and loves, but still try and throw other things that would be seen as progression, I suppose, within that mix. You know, this record, especially, obviously, you know, I'm this is like my first record with the band, and it's like I was super conscious of the fact that I didn't want it to be like a massive change, because obviously, like, you know, I'd come into the fold and then fans would be like, this doesn't even sound like the same band at all, and then everyone would blame me because it'd be my fault. But here's the thing, they do have a process and they have a way of like working things out, so that never would have happened anyway. It was just fortunate that like my style and how I play and stuff naturally integrated itself into the band, and being a listener and then actually being on one of the records, I thought would be a much weirder listening experience because it would be so different. But actually, I think it's kind of worked out. But I don't know. What do you think?
From what I've heard, mate, yeah, it sounds great. Like I've been a fan of Five Finger Death Punch from way back in the day, mate, and the new stuff I'm hearing off the record is fucking great. Yeah, I'm really liking it.
Oh, cool. Well, there you go. I mean, that's the best that any of us could hope for, you know what I mean? That people just listen to the band and enjoy what they're hearing, you know? And that's it. And long may that continue.
Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah. So you've mentioned the European tour you've done and the American one you got coming up, but does Australia figure in your plans at all in the next 12 months or so?
I mean, I'm probably not the person to ask about that, because I'm not, like, people don't come to me and go, right, Andy, where do you think we should tour? And I'll be like, I don't know.
Just say,
maybe one day that, yeah, maybe one day that'll be a thing. But no, I haven't, because I know we've just got this, we've got this